Hello friends, welcome to Learning Sessions, and today in this video we will be learning related to the second part of the HRD itself, that we were learning related to subsystems of the HRD, and further we have learned related to the personality development, attitude development, further the job analysis. Now in this video we'll be starting with the career path planning. So the audio video quality over here seems to be working fine, and let me tell you that if you want to join us on our WhatsApp group, simply do WhatsApp us writing your name, mention CAIIB along with it, and WhatsApp it to the number 83609444207. We will be adding you to the particular group itself. And if you want to get all the previous lectures along with the case study videos, chapter wise previous questions, mock test, and complimentary access to the EPDF notes, in that case you need to visit our website iibf.info right now and start preparing for the same itself over there. So you can enroll into the courses visiting the website iibf.info, and further let me tell you that you can get the 78% flat off on all the listed courses over there. You need to apply the coupon code MS78. So in this occasion of Makar Sankranti and Lohri festival itself, we have brought up with 78% flat off. 75% discount is already available, and over and above you will be getting 12% extra, so that will make it 78% flat off on all the listed courses over there. So simply visit the website, enroll into the courses, and start preparing for the same. So it's related to the next topic from the module C, that is a career path planning. So when an individual enters into the job, after some particular period he basically loses his interest in the job itself, because they want some advancement, they want some innovation, and further if there is no innovation, there is no advancement, further they will get definitely frustrated, and that is quite a difficult stage to handle with. Okay, so HRD is related to that organizational goals are to be achieved, but keeping one thing in mind, that the individual goals are also to be achieved. Okay, now related to that particular thing, the framework of the life stages is given by the Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson basically divided the life into 8 stages. 4 stages related to the childhood, and the other 4 stages related to the adulthood itself. Now adulthood 4 stages we are concerned about, because those are related to the career path planning, so we will be looking into those only. Now let us have a look at it, that how these stages are basically related to the one's life in the professional life itself. So first of stage, it is a adolescence. First stage, it's a adolescence. Now you can do compare the adolescence stage with that particular person who is entering into the job itself. Now when you just do enter into the job itself, you just want to make your ego identity. What does actually the term ego identity defines? Like, you want to be the person who others perceive you to be, and also you also have your individuality. So there is a reconciliation between these two factors, and you adjust as per that. That is basically related to the adolescence stage. That is the initial period when you just enter into the job itself. And further, when you're settled up and you have spent 2 to 3 years over there, that is a stage that is related to the young adulthood, where you start developing relationships, where you have your own network with the individuals, with the group, with the occupation itself, and then you start contributing over there. And the third stage, it is related to adulthood itself. Now over there, you not only manage your work, but also you do manage others, and you do pass your knowledge, you do pass your information to the others in that particular stage. That is the adulthood stage. And the fourth one stage, it is related to maturity, where you are basically look at the particular factor related to the ego integrity by examining why that your life was useful or meaningful, yes or no. Okay, so these are the 4 stages framework that was given by the Erik Erikson related to the adulthood stages we have read about. And the second model over here that we will be learning related to, that is given by the Levinson. Now the Levinson and his colleagues offered explanation about the career transitions, and this is somewhat corresponding to the Erik Erikson's adulthood model. Okay, adulthood stages over there. Now let us have a look at it. First of all, it is apprentice. Now apprentice is person that is the very beginning of the career itself. So individual does the routine work. Over here, when you just joined the bank itself, it was not the case that you were able to do each and every task. You were to learn from your colleagues, you were to learn from your subordinates, and further also your superiors, from your mentors itself. That is a stage related to the apprentice itself. And the second stage, it is related to the colleague, when you're contributing yourself, when you're having an individuality in the occupation itself, and further you're contributing, but still you are being mentored, being supervised by your mentors itself. You are basically taking help of your subordinates, but individually you are also contributing. Okay, The third stage over here, that is related to the mentor. When you are being mentored, let us take the case that when you have reached a stage when you can do teach others, when you can do mentor other, you can do supervise other. That is a stage related with the mentor itself. That is related that you can do develop your individual ideas, you can do manage others. And the fourth one, it is related to sponsors. Now sponsor is having a broadened it is having the broadened perspective. You just do not look at the task over there, but you have a long term, but you think for a long term period, not for a short term period, and you are in the top management over there. Okay, so that is related to the 4 stages model which was given by the Levinson over there. It is corresponding to the 4 stages of the adulthood framework which was given by the Eric Erikson. Now it is related to the career patterns over there. It is related to the career patterns over there. Now what is pattern actually? It's kind of movement that everyone follows. Now if we say the most common password over there, we can say it is 1234, or what is the most other password that could be, that will be your name 123$4. Okay, so these are basically some of the patterns which are being followed, and these can also be traced in the professional life itself. Those career patterns that we'll be learning about. Now over here, the driver listed these patterns as the career concepts. He basically listed these patterns as the career concepts. Now let's have a look at that what kind of particular career which are being followed. First of all, it is related to the linear career. It is related to linear career. What do you mean by linear career? That you being in one occupation itself, that you entered the bank as a clerical or as an officer, and you want to reach a higher rank, and you want to be on the higher position over there, higher hierarchy itself over there, and you worked hard for that. That is related to linear career. That you were a clerical before, but then you became officer scale 1, scale 2, scale 3, AGM, DGM, and all the scales over there. That is basically a linear career approach. That is basically a linear career approach. The second one, it is related to steady state career. It is related to steady state career. Steady state means we will be in a single career stage itself. We will be in the single career stage itself. Let me give an example that a person joined a bank over there as a clerical over there, and he's working hard, he's learning new skills, he's acquiring new skills, but he do not want to get promoted. He do not wish to get promoted over there. Okay, that is related to what? That is related to the steady state career. That is said to be the steady state career. So in this transition state, individuals shift from one job to another, not necessarily related to previous stage. Okay, so under the steady state career, you are being steady in one job itself, or it may be the case that you are changing from one job to another, but it may be the case that it is not related to the previous one, but you are not basically growing up, you are not basically moving up in the hierarchy itself. Okay, that is a steady state career. The third one, it is related to spiral career. It is related to the spiral career. So spiral career is somewhat related. We can say that you will go up, you will be learning, acquiring the new skills, and further you want to be on the top notch position. That is the spiral that you are following. Okay, so that is a spiral career itself. Okay, that is a spiral career. Further over there, Shane also gave the 3-dimension model. Let us have a look at it. So Shane also gave another comprehensive framework, that the 3-dimension movement, and that is a 3-dimension movement. So let me draw 3D disk over here so that I can make you understand. So this is a 3D disk. If you can understand that it's a 3D disk over here, and over there one career is a vertical career. Vertical career, you can relate it with the linear career, where you will be in a single profession and you want to go up in higher hierarchy. That is related to the vertical career. Vertical, that is movement along with the hierarchy. Previously you were scale 1, now scale 2, scale 3, scale 4. That is actually the hierarchy that you are following. The second one, it is related to circumferential. It is related to circumferential, that is along with the different divisions and functions. Along with the different divisions and functions that previously you were working in account department, now in credit department, then in HRM department, then in PRD. Okay, so basically acquiring the new skills, you are acquiring the new skills, but you do not go up in the hierarchy itself. That is somewhat related to the steady state career. And the third one, it is related to radial career. Then it is related to radial dimension. Now what is radial dimension? Where you want to acquire the new skills related to the different departments over there, and further you want to be in the top notch hierarchy also. That is basically related to the radial career. That is related to the radial dimension, and this was the 3-dimension model which was a framework which was given by the Shane. After that, it is related to the career anchors. Now career anchor, it actually refers to personal science of type of work. It actually refers to personal science. Personal styles means it is basically associated with the individual person itself, that what type of work I want to pursue. If being an individual, it's up to me na, that what type of work I want to pursue and what career for me is basically meant meaningful to me. Okay, so what career is meaningful to me? So it will, if it will not be meaningful to me, definitely I will do pursue some other career, because I will not be interested in that particular career na. So ultimately I'll get frustrated and I'll be doing following the another career that is related to what, that is related to the career anchor itself. So Shane's concept of career anchor provides explanation that why individuals try to follow a particular pattern over there. So Shane basically provided the three-dimensional pattern over there related to the career patterns, and further he also gave the explanation that why the individuals do follow these patterns. Okay, so this is having the three components. Let us have a look at it. First of all, it is related to the self-perception. So it is related to perception related to my individual talents and abilities. So based upon one's performance, so what I actually think about, what ability do I have, what talents do I possess, and based upon that I'll be thinking that what career I should be going for and what I should not be. That is a self-perception. And the second one, it is related to self-perceived motives and needs. It could be related to everyone do have their own life goals na, that I want to be rich, I want to acquire some particular assets over there. In that case, I'll be having some motives, I'll be having some needs based upon the diagnosis of that, and based upon the feedback given by the others itself, I can do follow some particular career. And the third element associated with it, it is related to the self-perceived attitudes and values. So when you work at a workplace over there, every organization do have their norms, they do have their values, and further based upon those interactions with those rule books and norms over there, you may develop a attitude related to it. And further, it is also one of the component related to that, you may follow some career pattern. Okay, so there are three components. What are these three components? First of all, it is self perception, and second one, self-perceived motives and needs. The third one, it is related to self-perceived attitudes and values. Okay, then further it is related to the, as per Shane, there are 5 types of career anchors. There are 5 types of career anchors. What these 5 types are? First of all, it may be the case related to that you are technical competent, you are functional competent, you do possess particular knowledge or information related to some particular field. Okay, in that particular case, you will be basically you will be desiring so as to pursue that particular field. Now if you do have knowledge related to the languages Java or something else, in that particular case you will be desiring that you want to pursue that particular field only because you possess knowledge to that. Okay, further it may be the case that you are managerial competence, you are managerial competent. What does it indicate? That you are better at managing others. In that particular case, that can also be an anchor that you will be following some particular fields. Then it is related to everyone or some persons, they want to have a job security. In that particular case, they can go for that particular type of job in which they do find it to be secured enough. And some persons do find creative jobs the most. They want to get a creative job. In that case, they can do go for some creative job. And further, some individuals do want freedom at the workplace itself, so that they can do pursue that particular type of jobs in which they can get the flexibility. They can do pursue their own businesses, they can have a startup over there, so that they can have their autonomy, their freedom in that particular case. Okay, so these are the 5 anchors, 5 types of the career anchors, which were as per the Shane itself. Then it is a career path planning. So career path planning is primarily HRD subsystem. It is what? It is HRD subsystem. Now I just told you that career path planning is HRD subsystem, but how it is so? Now let me tell you that if you are an individual and you are working in an organization, in that particular case, you will be wanting that you will be basically getting to know, you will be becoming aware of your skills and about your information and knowledge after some time. And then you'll be pursuing in that particular field. You will be pursuing in that particular field. And if the same organization is not providing you with the opportunities that you can go up higher in the hierarchy, or can do acquire some new skills related to that, and will be focusing only and only just on the organization goals, definitely you will not be working with that particular organization for longer period. Okay, isn't that clear? So that is why HRD, it is a HRD subsystem that is related to the career path planning. Okay, so it establishes linkages between the subsystem that is related to what manpower is required, what would be related to job rotations, transfers, placements, performance appraisals. All things are related to it. Okay, and career development has two distinctive phases. One, it is related to prior to acquiring qualification, that when you have not acquired some person related to that, and after acquiring qualification, that when you have acquired the person with the qualification itself. So this is basically related to two-phase criteria. It is related to two-phase criteria. One, it is prior to acquiring qualification, and the second one, it is related to the after acquiring the qualification. So as I told you that when an individual becomes aware related to the skills and related to the knowledge he possesses, the capabilities, then he basically chooses to develop himself in that particular direction. So what it is related to HRD. So while implementing the career plan, the organization is responsibility to see that there is an explicit policy. There is an explicit policy of the career planning. So if a bank is an organization, in particular bank organization, bank will be having an explicit policy that when you do enter as a clerical person, when do you get promoted, when do you can be getting promoted, when we will be getting a chance to get promoted to the another level. That is basically expressed policy. And further, there must be benchmarks related to that. So as per on the critical stages, that what time period you must be a clerical itself, what the different skills you must be having particular related to that, what would be related to the written exam, what would be related to the interviews. All those things must be expressed in the policy itself. For the secondly, it is related to career path is a facility for growth. It's a facility to growth. It should not be like that if you have spent that particular much time in the bank itself, then you will be promoted itself. Okay, so it is basically a facility for growth, and it's not a right for advancement. It's not a right for advancement. It's not my right that I'll be getting promoted. It's not my right that I'll be getting promoted, but it's a facility which is available, that if you want to grow, you have to achieve those benchmarks, you have to be on those thresholds. In that case, you can do you can do better in that particular field. Okay, and the third one, it is related to career path, a sequence of job assignments, training requirement, and promotion to higher level. So it's a career path that particular jobs will be assigned to you. There may be the training requirement associated with it, and further the person will be promoted to the next higher level. Performance feedback is part of the career path itself. The performance feedback is part of the career path itself, and it must be uniform for all the employees. It must be uniform for all the employees without any biasness, without any prejudice. And further, the career path should be flexible to accommodate the variations, because there is innovation itself. Definitely, if there are some changes in there are some advancements in the organization itself, there must be flexibility in the career path itself. There must be flexibility in the career path itself. And further, for effective implementation of the career path in the organizations have to do what? They have to define the career stages. They have to define the career stages. Likewise, if I say that there are different stages, that person can be in clerical stage, scale 1, scale 2, scale 3, scale 4. So these are the defined career stages. These are the defined career stages in relation to the banks over there. And further, there must be identification of the core jobs at each level, that what different jobs, what different tasks are to be done at some particular at each level itself. And further, there must be definition, and we must be spelling out the criteria for each successive level, that what should be the criteria that you will be promoted to the another level. That must be defined, and that must be spelled out. And for the placement is the next career law. Placement in the next career role, that only who have cleared the criteria, only who have met the criteria itself, those must be moved to the next level. If we take an example over there, that there is a vacancy of 4 officers, and we do have 10 clerical. when we do have 10 clerical persons and there is vacancy for 4 officer. Okay, so you must be having an expressed policy over there that what criteria they need to fulfill so as to promote it to the next level over there. And it is not the case that each and every clerical person will be promoted to the officer level over there, because there is a vacancy for 4 officers only 4 of the clerical persons will be moved to the another level itself. Okay, that is related to placement is a next career role, and that should be based upon only and only on the criteria for those persons who have fulfilled the criteria. And the transition is to be facilitated by training or counseling. When one person is promoted from one stage to another, that is said to be what? That is said to be the transition, and that is to be facilitated by training itself, because so as to execute the new duties, so as to execute the new jobs over there, the person must be facilitated with the training and counseling. Then it is related to self development. So organizations are required to bring about strategic changes involving business diversification, expansion, structural changes. Now, if you're in an organization, and even if you're in a bank itself, that's a government, if you're in a government job itself, in that particular case, you must have learned must have learned by right now that there have been continuous advancement, there have been continuous innovations. Okay, if we look at the different schemes or different technical innovations which have been there. Now you must be a self learner, and that particular self development is very much required, because there will be strategic changes which will be made by the organizations. There can be that can be in the form of the diversification, that one manufacturing company was producing product 1 before, but now they are also manufacturing product 2, product 3, and it may be the case that they want to expand in the different dimensions, and that is also required. So as to achieve the organizational goals, it is required. So for creating learning organizations, people in the organization must be sensitized. The employees must be sensitized in such a manner that if there are going to be changes in the organization, you have to be a part of those changes. Because if you will be reluctant so as to learn to the new changes over there, definitely you cannot be a part for a longer period. To achieve a lasting effect, the organizations have to concentrate on how the HR could be reoriented towards such self-renewal, that how the human resources will be working out, that the employees are learning at their self-renewal. They are self-renewing itself. Okay. Further, unless the individuals change, they would not be able to survive. So, if, as I already told you, that if the individuals want to sustain in the organization itself, they have to change themselves. They have to be self-renewed. They have to acquire the new skills as per the advancements, as per the innovations, and the change in the organization comes only when the individual sense that the change is occurring, and one has to take the corrective steps to ensure that one does not become a misfit. So if there was a new software version that was updated in the system itself, so if you will be reluctant to that you will not be learning to the new software, that you will not be having a hands-on in that, in that particular case you will be a misfit. And definitely you will not be staying longer in the institute itself. So for self-development of the individual in the context of the organization, the undernoted aspects require consideration. Which aspects are these? Let us have a look at it. So at the individual level, they must be having a motivation pattern, locus of control. Locus of control is that who is the controlling party on you. So we will be learning in detail. And further, it is related to power bases. Second, it is related to the at interpersonal level. And the third one, it is related to the at group level itself. So first of all, it is related to at individual level. So at individual level, it is related to the motivation pattern. So the employees must be motivated. They must be motivated that they want to learn new. They want to acquire the new skills. So they must be having the life goals. So the conscious efforts to be made regarding the life goals. So now each and every person as an individual is having their own goals and they want to achieve them. So as to achieve those goals, we must be acquiring the new skills. We must be developing ourselves in such a way that we want to be a fit for the newer job itself. And individuals has to be aware so as to what motivates him. It may be the case that the individual is motivated by money itself. It may be the case that individual is motivated by appreciation itself. So there can be the different motivations. So it would facilitate creation of the awareness about career anchor, and then deciding what is most suitable action for the development and increasing effectiveness. People work for variety of reasons, like money, status, appreciation, work satisfaction, self growth, etc. Okay, so the motivation pattern is to be looked into, that is to be judged by the HR itself, that what motivates what employee over there. In that particular case, the person should be motivated in a way that so that they can self renew themselves. Then it is related to locus of control. Locus of control, the definition was given by Leftcott and Levinson. And individuals have beliefs about who is responsible for what happens in life. So if something is happening in my life, I'll be having the beliefs related to that, why it is happening to me. So some persons believe that the events are determined by like other influential persons in the society, that I'm not responsible for the what is happening to me. This is due to the other influential persons. This is due to the other influential person, that is exterior locus to me, not because of me, but due to something else that is not in my control. Okay, that is related to society, that is related to luck, destiny. Okay, that is basically changing. And further, others do believe that internal individuals can determine the events, that the internal individuals can determine the events, that my boss is changing the organization itself, that he is basically responsible for the changes over there. That is basically the locus of control. That is basically related to what? Locus of control. So in a nutshell, we can say some people do believe, some individuals do believe that the changes are over there and the events are being determined by some external cause itself. Okay, and further, some persons do believe that internal individuals are responsible for that. And further, we have individuals with the external locus of control, and we also do have the individuals with the internal locus of control. So the organization must be looking into that what basically locus control the person is oriented with. Okay, so if you are basically oriented with the external locus, in that particular case, you must be consult in that particular manner. Otherwise, you must be consult in other manner. Okay. The third one, it is related to the power basis. Now, still we are learning about at the individual level. We are learning about the individual level, that what the self-development, how self-development can be done by individual level, at the individual level. So it was related to it is related to power basis now. So we learned about the motivation pattern, and the second one, was related to locus of control. Third one, it is related to individual person, it is related to power basis. So Cotter in 1979 defined power as a measure of person's potential to get others to do what he or she wants them to do. Okay, so what it means, that if person A is powerful, we can do measure power in such a way that what ability he is having, that he can do others to do what he wants others to do, or what power he is having, that he can alter others not to do the things he want others not to do. Okay, so in the same manner, that is basically related to power basis. That is basically said to be what? That is said to be power basis, and the definition was given by Cotter itself. So perception of having and using power empowers a person. So perception that I'm having the power and using the power, that empowers a person itself. So exercise of power authority is essential for functioning of the organization, and the power must be there if you want a person to be developed itself. In that particular case, these are the three essential components that is related to the motivation pattern, locus of control, and power basis. Then it is at the interpersonal level. Then second one, it is at the interpersonal level. So self-awareness can also come from the interpersonal level. When you are interacting interpersonally, when you are interacting with the other individuals, other employees in the different situation, then you get influence from that. That is basically related to the interpersonal interaction. And further, the individual must be aware of the process of the influence, that how we can get influence from the interpersonal interaction. Then second one, it is related to the transaction analysis. Now, under the interpersonal level itself, there is a concept related to transactional analysis. Now, what is said to be one transaction? Let us take the case that there are two persons who are interacting with each other. In that particular case, one person has said something, that he has stimulated something, and further there is response from that particular person. That basically completes a transaction. that basically completes a transaction, and the transactional analysis is basically based upon the behavior patterns. Now behavior is related to what? Behavior is related to that what we have gained under the different stages, that may be, and further it is defined into the three stages over there, that is related to the parenting, and third one adulthood, and the third one it is related to the child behavior. Okay, so we will be learning them all. That is related to what? That is related to the transactional analysis itself. So just told you that personality of the individual comprises collection of the behavior pattern, and depending that how the transaction went upon, that depends upon the behavior pattern of the persons who are basically interacting with each other. Okay, that how we will get motivated, how we will be getting self motivated in the case of the interpersonal transaction, that is related to if one person is conveying something to us, and are we ready to do so, that depends upon what type of behavior pattern we are having. And further, behavior patterns are evolved in different degrees from three ego states, and what these three ego states are, this is related to parent, child and adult. Further, the parent is having two ego types. One, it is a nurturing parents. As the parents, nurturing parents are understanding, those are caring. In that particular also, if someone has conveyed you something, you will be taking care of that. In that particular case, you are basically nurturing parent. And critical parent, where you will be criticizing. So when something undesirable is done by the children itself, you are criticizing that. Now that is basically the part of the critical parent itself. And if you are having the behavior pattern related to that, in that particular case, if something is conveyed to you and if it is wrong, if you think like that, if it is wrong, you will be criticizing it, you will be evaluating things, you will be judgmental in each and every manner. That is related to the parent ego state. And further, it is related to the adult. Now, being an adult, you'll be logical enough, you'll be rational enough. Every decision that you will be taking, that will be logical, and you'll be eager so as to solve your problems. And further, you try to find out the alternatives based on the facts and figures. You'll try to find out the different solutions for the problem itself. That is related to the ego type, that is related to the ego state of the adult. And further, the third one, it is related to child. And further, the child is also categorized into three stages. One, it is a adopted child, where the child adapts himself for the condition he fits in. Okay, so whatsoever the condition is given to that particular person, ego type person, the person will basically try to adapt as per that particular situation. The second one, it is related to natural child over there, who basically enjoys every bit, and the third ego stage over here, that is related to the child ego type, that is a little professor. That particular behavior pattern is basically the person is innovative, intuitive, creative, and further they indulge themselves in the experiments. Okay, that is related to the different ego stage. What different ego stage we read about? First of all, it was related to parent. Where the first type was nurturing parents. Nurturing parenting ego stage. And the second stage was related to what? The second stage was critical parents. And further, under the adult ego stage, we just learnt about that the person is responsive, the person is logical, try to find out the alternatives. And the third ego stage, we learnt about the child, further categorized into three categories. One, it is related to what? One, it is related to the adopted child, natural child, and little professor. So adopted child adapts himself, a natural child enjoys each and every bit, little professor is intuitive and further innovative. Okay, they are just indulging into the experiment itself. Okay, so these are the ego types, and that affects the transactional analysis itself. Okay, so that would be all related to this particular session. I hope that you would have liked the video. This was a quite small session, we can say, but definitely I'll be just uploading the full videos very soon. So that would be all. Thank you so much, and see you again in the next session.